Great. Thank you, Julian, and good evening and good morning and actually good afternoon. We have a real international audience here today. Having reviewed the roster, there's folks from Africa, there's folks from Canada, U.S., Europe. It's clearly a global world, so thank you, all of you, for joining. As you know, I'm the CEO and founder of SalesChoice, and I'm going to give you a bit of context on who we are. Next slide. So in terms of SalesChoice, we're, as Julian mentioned, a predictive and prescriptive analytics SaaS company. We're an ISV partner of Salesforce. We're very excited to be here today to share our story and our journey. We're headquartered in Toronto. We have U.S. offices and obviously global reach. For global reach, we've partnered very closely with Accenture. They're our lead SI partner, and another company in the U.S., Relation Edge, which primarily focused on the I call it SMB mid-market segment, and obviously our entire business is very much wrapped around the Salesforce offerings. So essentially what we've done is that we focus on driving a number of results, but with the time here I'll just highlight some of the main KPIs, and they'll when Dinesh picks up and talks about their experience with us, he'll highlight these at a more visceral level, but fundamentally we focus on increasing win rates and in conversion rates. Doing a number of approaches to kind of get to that Holy Grail in terms of improving forecasting accuracy. Things like if you indicate that you have a commit in play, we can also, advise with that's almost like mini Uber on your shoulder, a little mini-me, indicating whether our sciences believe that will happen or not. For sure, with the prioritization methods with these advanced sciences, you can really cluster things in terms of the higher priorities where your odds are greater, so you can stop chasing the duds. And I think the other point to just highlight at this stage in our evolution, we're very, very focused on the B2B market principally. There are certainly advantages to predictive and B2C, but our journey at this point has been very concentrated on the B2B market. At the end of the day, clearly the value proposition is always on top-line revenue growth and reducing cost of sales. And with our heritage as sales professionals, myself grew up earlier in Xerox and was a former partner of Accenture as well. Keeping the eye with the language of the voice of the customer is very much top of our branding and our commitments. Next slide, please, Julian. So I think one of the factors that is important to keep in mind is that irrespective of the investments and billions poured into the CRM industry, 36 to 58%, usually of the middle tier, in sales worldwide have difficulty prioritizing the sales opportunities. So in order to take the next step and really start to crack through, I'd call it that lightning rod, we really need predictive and machine learning to start drawing patterns that are scientifically derived. And with what we've done in the last 3 years in our research labs with a number of large data sets, is we really believe that this is the pathway to the Holy Grail. I don't think it's smoke and mirrors by any means. We are entering the first stage in our lifetime where we can probably start cracking this code, but it's taken time. Literally right now, the price of a miss, is literally trillions of lost global revenue, thousands of job losses, and eroding confidence of shareholders. And I think in many, one of the other key points is less than 1% of the data available has even been analyzed. So we're at this wonderful inflection point, and I think like Apple created Siri to help navigate us, our vision is very much being the world's leader sales GPS with the smartest algorithm, basically capturing all the interaction signals. And, it's all of that intelligence coming together, not just inside the CRM, because we still have issues, as I think everybody knows, on the phone with adoption, quality, etc., but with mining all the other interaction signals, wherever they may come from, whether it's email interactions, calendar interactions, or, quite frankly, even stock performance outcomes, we will get to a point where all those signals will interact and intelligently advise us. Next slide, Julian. These are just a few of the slides when Julie and I were talking last night. Our demonstration today is primarily our deep integration into Wave, but I do want to highlight that we have a lite BI as well. So if you were using our predictive analytics, you would have a number of BI visualizations. But if in fact you wanted more visualizations and connections to other data sources, Wave provides a much more comprehensive platform. Some of the things that Predictive does, and you'll see this in the demo shortly when Julian picks up again, is that we prioritize all the opportunities, highlighting the confidence of our predictions versus the SalesForce static sales gates. And that's a very key point. As we go through our life cycle in pipeline management, it's not predictive, it's static. And there's tremendous variances between proposals or natures of customers, whether it's a renewal, and the science can pick up all those patterns and start to prioritize, which ones have the highest odds of success. What we've also done is we've added a prescriptive analytics layer. We're not going to be going into that too much today, but that starts to give you the insights for the reasons for the wins and the loss, but also giving you some simulation and scenario possibilities. We've been experimenting a lot with mobile. I think we all recognize we live 7 by 24 on our mobile devices, and how do we bring people back into the CRM environments, which there may be more comprehensive information. So flagging things with predictions, saying, this commit is at risk. Flagging things like positive reinforcement, like, hey, Joe or Charlie or Sally, these 7 opportunities are fast blooming. Focus on those, and you will get to your plan. So again, going back to the analogy of having, a little mini-me or a little voice Siri sales GPS guiding you in terms of on-ramp or off-ramp. Next slide, please. We've been spending a lot of time, because we're emerging, on how to crisply say on a few points what our company DNA is, and we've kind of landed on we really help you prioritize with our advanced sciences, which certainly drives the predictions, but I think more importantly, we help you pace. And let me explain the importance of the pace message. With 30%, and this is a message that's not spoken about very much in kind of the age of distraction, but that's 30% of sales professionals in companies worldwide more often than not have attention deficit challenges. And when you look at that, where the human focus, our ability to focus and our cognitive ability has dropped by 50% in the last about 10 to 15 years. And everybody feels that they're constantly on the edge, on the go. And that's because humans weren't hardwired to necessarily amass all these signals. So that has really driven us to really think through how we can display these experiences in language that's simplistic, cognitive signals that help you focus. So at the end of the day, unless we crack 36 to 58% of middle-tier professionals worldwide don't meet their plans, and I don't believe for a nanosecond it's all because of the individual. I think most companies work very hard to hire talented, bright people. I know when I was at Xerox, we did. But I also know that some folks, they don't have all that inherent sales or wisdom with all that experience. That's where predictive can really drive the breakthrough, because all the historical win and loss patterns, other signals, it's like you're giving them the entire history of the company and its wisdom, and you can distill it down into sound bites. But in order to do that, they have to be in very, I'd call it easily digestible sound bites that are in their native vernacular. In the past, a lot of data scientists got trapped in making these experiences complex. So very focused on the KPIs. They're kind of outlined there. And I'll just close things off with a couple closing comments in the next slide, please, and then turn it over to Dinesh for telling the case story. Now, there's lots of research out there. There's certainly lots on our website. We've been doing a lot of research, white papers, et cetera. There's actually a survey, too, that if you're curious, you could just go on and give a point of view of where you're at in your life cycle and data sciences maturity. But right now, we're at a nice inflection point that 70% of high-performing businesses will use predictive analytics this year. I also believe that many organizations are caught in that quality death trap, where they just don't have role model sales processes, which really impact their ability to move forward. What's more important is that the predictive side of the equation is what really drives higher ROI business cases. On average, predictive analytics in a business case will range between 250 to 1,000%. Usually while you can get in a BI business case is 80%, because what you're doing is you are creating frameworks of existing data, but it's a visualization. There's not an interpretive engine based on AI or machine learning or sentiment mining or advanced sciences. And so, but when you bring the two together, like we've done with SalesChoice and Wave, wow, do you have power? You've got power on the communication, visibility side, but you also have the guidance that these systems can give you on the predictive side.